In today's episode, I had Vlad Plotnikov on the show, and he's a 22-year-old investor out here in Las Vegas who's about to do over $500,000 this year in wholesale fees and house flips. Super inspiring story considering I met him 2 years ago in a bar when he was a little underage, and he'd never done a deal then, and to see him now doing over $500,000 is absolutely insane. So if you're in this industry and you're new and you're trying to figure out how to get started, his story is going to inspire you. If you've done some deals and you're figuring out how can I scale, some of the lessons we talk about are going to be super beneficial. So make sure you stay to the end. Let's jump into it. Are you looking to grow your real estate investing business? My company, Future Flipper, can help. We've taught hundreds of people all over the country how to flip, wholesale, and buy rental properties. And it doesn't matter where you're at in your investing journey. Whether you're trying to get your first deal or scale your company, Future Flipper can help. We have courses, coaching, and events for all levels of investors. So if you want to take the next step, go to futureflipper.com and book a free consultation to see how we can best help you. Once again, that's futureflipper.com. If you've ever wanted to invest with me on my real estate deals, it's now possible. At Pineda Capital, we're purchasing value-add real estate all across the country. This includes multifamily, commercial, and land development. The best part is, with my network, social media presence, and marketing strategies, we're able to get the very best deals that others don't have access to. You can join in with me on those deals if you're an accredited investor. If you want to learn more, head over to pinedacapital.com to see our current opportunities. Once again, that's pinedacapital.com. Welcome to the Ryan Pineda Show, where our mission is to invest.
I only expect to make money in things that I understand.
Innovate.
It's about believing in the future and thinking that the future will be better than the past.
And inspire. I am much more likely to hit my goal just due to putting it out there.
You're now rocking with the best.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Ryan Pineda Show. Today, I've got one of our students, probably one of our most successful over at Future Flipper, a guy that I actually met when he snuck into the bar at one of my very first meetups a couple of years ago because he wasn't old enough. But he is now doing over $500,000 this year as a 22-year-old. The guy can barely drink, and he's running a business and killing it. I got my guy Vlad with me. What's up, man?
What's up? How's it going?
It's good, man. Dude, I'm happy to have you on. For those of you who don't know, I actually did a YouTube video with Vlad, and we talked about, his journey to that point, but I want to go more in depth on this podcast of kind of how you got to where you're at today, man.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Let's do it.
So yeah, man, tell us a little bit about your story.
Yeah, for sure. So, I started off listening to you actually on a podcast, so this is pretty dope. To get on. I think you were on Disruptors with Steve Trang.
Yep.
And you got on and, you were like, hey, I'm flipping 100 houses a year in Vegas. And for me, I had just stopped playing football over at UNLV. So I was just kind of at a crossroads, didn't really know what I wanted to do, jumping around different things. So I was like, hey, that's super, super cool. I want to meet this guy. So found you on Instagram, ended up reaching out to you. And I was like, I'll work for you for free. Do whatever it takes, and you're just kind of like, hey, I'm not really looking for anybody right now, but hey, come to one of my meetups, and you never know, we'll make it work. So that's what I did. I was like, when's the next meetup? Let me know. I'll be there.
Yeah, for sure. And what's funny about that is, I get people now especially who are like, dude, I'll work for free, I'll do whatever, and for the most part, I'm like, guys, I don't have anything. We've done internships, I think, twice now, and the amount of apps we get is like insane. We got people like I remember we had a guy from Egypt who was like, I will move to Las Vegas to do the internship. We're like, dude, please don't. And but we had other people who moved from Cali for one of the internships, and and our first one was very successful. We ended up hiring a couple of the people from it full time, and they've been fantastic. But the whole work for free thing it's great. I tell people that all the time, like, hey, if you want to go really work for somebody, offer them value, whether it's working for free, whether it's getting their coffee, like whatever you can do to get your foot in the door, go do it. And unfortunately, I didn't have anything for you at the time, but you ended up getting your foot in the door, which, we'll talk about here later on in your story. But yeah, I remember meeting you at the bar because our meetups used to be, at like Sierra Gold and these other places, and you introduced yourself, and you were like, yeah, I had to sneak in because I'm not 21. I was like, how old are you? And you're like,
Yeah, I was
18 or 19?
19 at the time. Yeah, I was 19 at the time.
Yeah, but you were networking, getting after it, and I remember you still, like, even though you had the bug, you hadn't like fully committed yet.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Well, I didn't know what to commit to. I didn't really know at the time. I had just kind of learned about real estate, and I was like, wait, this is possible? I'm like, I'm 19. Like, how do I make this work? But then, I went to that meetup, just talking to a bunch of different people. They're like, yeah, no, it's definitely possible. Talk to this guy, talk to Ryan, he's hosting it. So I was like, for sure, I need to go all in, just need to find out kind of what to do. What are my next steps?
Yeah.
But I'll do it.
I mean, you saw me on Disrupt. How did you even find out about disruptors and real estate as a whole?
I think I was listening to like everything at the time. Like,
you're like, I'm open to whatever.
So yeah, so I quit football. So before that, I was just, football, good at school, but whatever. And then, football ended, and it's like, I'm like, well, that's done, and I didn't really think of what's next. Do I just go to college? I've never really just wanted to just go to college. So I was like, hey, definitely need to find something. So it was like insurance, like selling insurance, like day trading. Like, is that, an avenue I want to go down? Do I want to go to, down to Wall Street and be like an investment banker? That's what I was going to, school for, get my finance degree, doing some pre-internship stuff. And then just real estate, maybe I want to be like a real estate investor, and then Real Estate Disruptor was the first podcast I listened to.
Yeah, it's funny now because when I was your age, all these industries were not like public, right? Yeah. Wholesaling and house flipping were like behind the scenes. There was no gateway to getting into them. It was always the free seminar that, charged you whatever.
Yeah.
And you didn't even know if it worked or not.
Yeah.
Now with social media, everything is so out there, and, you can see kind of like what's going down and get enough information to at least start taking action.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, as a 19-year-old, how was it like being, I guess, confused and not confused, but like open to it? You're like, well, I could day trade. I could do wholesaling. I'm sure you looked into drop shipping and e-com.
Yep.
Like, I'm sure you looked into Forex. Like, I call them like the big four of like just the young, get rich quick entrepreneur thing they could do.
Well, I was just like, I want to make good money, so what am I going to do? I actually joined like MLM by accident, and they're like, I didn't know what it was, and then they're like, oh, you're going to have to, recruit people, and I was like, wait, is this what it is? I was like, I don't want to do this. Never mind. I'm out of here.
Which MLM was this?
It was Primerica. So it was like the financial services, but you don't get paid unless you bring somebody in. So I was like, oh, that's not the financial services I thought it was. I was like, I'm out.
Right.
So just for me, I was just looking for something else. I guess I had the competitive itch from football. I didn't want to just sit around and be just a regular student, I guess. So I think that kind of translated also, where it's like, I'll be competitive somewhere else. I need to like make a lot of money and do that.
Right.
That's what I want to do.
Right. Well, I think the first time I met you was at that first meetup. I don't know how many, you were like 19, so 3 years ago. And I remember I was like, okay, this kid, he's hungry. He speaks well. I think he's got what it takes. And then I may have saw you 6 months later, a year later or something, but you still hadn't like taken action. You were kind of still asking the same questions. You're like, well, do you think I should get licensed? Do you think I should do this? And I'm like, dude, you just need to go after it.
Yeah.
Like what was going on?
Yeah, I think between the time that, so when I first heard about real estate was that first podcast, and then your meetup was like a week later. So I went to that one, and then, I was figuring stuff out, and then I think the next time was like 3 months later.
Yeah.
And I was like trying to do deals and stuff like that, but taking action, but not fully taking action. I was still working. I had like a part-time job.
You're going to college too.
I was going to college too. So I was taking action. I kind of knew about it already, but I wasn't seeing the success right away. So that's kind of what kept me back. I was like, should I get my real estate license too to supplement? And you're like, dude, go all in.
Yeah. I'm like, you're thinking about the wrong things.
Yeah, for sure.
So how long was it before you got that first deal?
I think it was a few months before I got that first deal, like as a lead. But when it was a deal, I knew it was a deal right away. I kind of already did all the numbers on it and stuff like that. So I was like, this is a deal. Now I need, help closing it for sure. And I know the right guy to reach out to that's been, telling me to take action. So, let's reach out to him.
Yeah. No, I remember you reached out to us. You're like, I think I got a deal. What should I do? Yada, yada, yada. You and I ended up closing it together. Made money.
I don't think we made much money at all.
Oh, you know what? I'm totally confusing our first deal.
Our first deal was our first deal. Yeah.
Dude, I totally forgot. Okay, hold on. So I was thinking of this other deal we did. That was that your second deal?
That was my second deal. That was when I went out and did everything A to Z and just sold it to you. But the first one,
I forgot about that. So, all right, let me tell this story. So, I don't know how I forgot about this. So you came to me. You're like, hey, I got this guy. I know he's interested in selling. Yada yada yada. And I was like, all right, I'll go help you close it. So, I haven't closed deals in person in quite a while, but I was like, I want to go help you close your first deal. So we got to meet this guy. And what was the nickname he had for himself?
Crazy Ray. It was all over his walls. It was everywhere.
Crazy Ray, dude. This guy was 70, 80 years old, talking about how he was still getting it on with all these different girls. And dude, he was a nut. And his house was it was clean. He had bought a flip.
He bought a flip, but just trashed it.
He trashed it himself. And then one room he painted all black with glow highlighters and
nasty couches that we don't know what happened on in there.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Remember when we showed up to his house? He wasn't there. We knocking on the door. He's not there. Yeah, we walk in the backyard because somebody or something was like, hey, if I don't answer, go to the backyard.
He put a note on the door. It was like, I'm in the backyard swimming. Don't even knock. Just go to the back.
Yeah, so we went in the back, and this guy's naked, just swimming. And I was like, what is going on
And then
here?
he got scared, too. He's like, oh, you guys snuck up on me. Why'd you guys do that? I was like, you left a note
Your
on the
note
door
said
for us.
come in the back. What are you talking about?
All good.
Yeah, so was he in foreclosure? What was his deal? I think
everything.
Yeah.
Foreclosure. He just did a bankruptcy. He just got out of jail.
Dude, this was easily one of the most complicated deals I've ever done in my life.
It was my first deal. What are the odds of that?
Yeah, he had so much going on, but long story short, we didn't know that going into it. We went to the appointment, walked through it, and then we closed it right then and there. I got him to sign a contract. We have it on. If you're watching on the podcast for YouTube, we'll show some B-roll of that. You'll have to send me the IG stories when we were doing that. But we get him to sign the contract, and it was looking like a good deal. We're like, hey, we're going to make some good money on this. We got it at a good price. And then when we go to title, he has all this crap going on.
Yeah.
Bankruptcies, extra liens, all these things. And dude, it was just a nightmare working with him and just his attorneys and everything that was going on with it.
Yeah.
Man.
I remember Nick was like, Nick Devitt, he was asking me, he was like, so what are you going to do, with all this money? You're 19. Once you close this deal, what are you buying a car? By the time I got that final check, between the two of us, what we made, I don't think either of us was buying anything. But
no, we went from thinking we were each going to, I think I was like, Vlad, I'm going to cut you 10 or 15 grand on this.
I think I was going to make 10 grand at first.
Yeah. And I was like, I'll probably make 20 or 30 on it, whatever. And then by the time it was said and done, the most work we've ever had to do into a deal. We had to work with his attorneys, and then he wanted to back out 12 times. And I was like, dude, you know what, Ray? I'm done. I don't even want to do the deal with you. You're just, this is way more headache than it's worth. And then he'd call back, dude, I'm sorry. Come on, I need to sell the house. I really need it.
And then he didn't move when we wholesaled it to somebody else. They came and he was still living there in his little RV at the property. So,
dude, just total nightmare. And I think at the end it was a $7,000 total profit.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, and it was just dude,
far different from 30 to 40 that we thought it was.
Yeah, it wasn't what we thought. So I forgot that was your first deal.
Yeah,
but that was a good one to get your cut your teeth.
Yeah, for sure. So then it took me another. That one actually was a month after I meet up. So I did take the action right away, but I didn't make, it was proof of concept, but I didn't make much money on that one. And then I was taking the action to do my next deal.
Hey, actually, too, tell the story about how you even got that deal. Remember? You were just randomly door knocking.
Oh, yeah. I was randomly so I went to the meetup and they're like, you just got to take action. And I was like, all right, let's take action then. So I was door knocking. I would door knock. I took the tax delinquent list right from the county.
Right.
So I would door knock all of those houses. And actually, at one point, I never told you this, but I came to a house, And I knock on the door, and the lady opens it. And she was like, oh, I just walked away from the door. And I was like, what do you mean? And she had a contract in her hand. And she was like, I just signed. Another investor just left right now.
Wow.
And I looked down the street, and there was a car driving away. So I was like, wow. I was like, I'm close, this close to doing it. Yeah, I was an hour away. And I was like, can you show me like the price? And she was like, I signed for 125, and I was going to give her 135. That was my, number. So I was like, wow, like that was a deal that I just missed out on. So I was like, all right, now there's proof of concept. So
I know door knocking works.
Yeah, so I would be door knocking, all the tax delinquents, and then Crazy Ray was actually just a neighbor to a tax delinquent property. They were like, we don't want to sell, but hey, you're doing the right thing. I'm actually an investor myself. That was the guy. He's like, I'm a landlord, own a couple properties in this neighborhood. Definitely, a good place to come door knocking, And the next house I knocked was his house. So
because you just saw his house had a lot going on.
Yeah,
he wasn't on a list.
No,
you just door knocked him.
Yeah, I just door knocked him. He just got, and I knocked on the door. It was crazy, but he essentially knocked on the door, and he was like, hey, what do you want? I was like, are you looking to potentially sell your house? And he was like, heck yeah, I am. Get me out of here, please help me. He's like, you want to come inside? He's like, I just got out of jail, blah blah blah. And I was like, let's do it, man. Show me around. Let's do it. Let's see what this house is about. But he I don't know. I guess you could say he was nice, just crazy.
He was nice, but like I said, he
just something wrong with his head.
Yeah, I mean, like the next day he'd be just out of it.
Yeah,
he's on drugs and other things too. So either way, we got that deal closed. Then you ended up doing a deal on your own.
Yeah.
After that,
we ended up. It was like a little triplex downtown. I worked with that lady forever, but. Ended up wholesaling that one. That was when I made that real money for the first time, and I was like,
"You made like what, 20 grand?"
20 grand on the assignment, which for me at the time was like, well, I mean, it's still really good money, but it's like, wow, that's crazy. I think I made
20 years old.
Yeah, I think I made like 30 grand that whole year working my part-time job, and I would be working like hard. So I was like, 20 grand on this, one deal. This is crazy. I need to do more, and I'm quitting my job today. So that's what happened.
Yeah. And after that, we did those two deals together. I was like, dude, I see a lot of potential in this guy. I wanted to put you in my program. So, pretty much as part of that deal, I put you in, our all-star program. And for those of you listening, that's a way to just get in the door. Like, we charge a lot of money to be in our programs, but the fact that this guy had already brought me two deals, and I felt like we were going to do some other deals together if I could just teach him some different things, it's a win-win. And so, you go in the program and you're like one of the youngest guys there. And, what happens after that? Yeah,
it was just you were just starting it up. I think you started it like November, December of that previous year. And then
I started in December of 2019.
Yeah. So, and then I joined in March of 2020. So I've really just seen it grow like crazy, but I guess, one of the original guys with Davila and all them, and it's just been huge for me, just being around all those guys, learning from you. I've learned a lot. I think just getting around those people, getting around, somebody like yourself, it's huge for me, especially being a young guy, because it's like, yeah, it's possible, and I'm younger. I could do it earlier than these guys, likely, as long as I'm doing the exact same things they're doing right now. That's always been my mindset.
Yeah, for sure. So I remember too, you're coming off your first couple of deals, and then, you start to take it more serious. I'm like, hey, dude, are you still going to college? Like, what's your deal? You're like, yeah, I'm still in school. I'm still like working this job. I'm like, when are you going to go all in?
Yeah.
So when did you finally like get enough confidence to like pursue this full time?
Well, last time, whenever we did the YouTube, I think it was exactly, maybe not exactly a year ago, maybe like 9 or 10 months ago. Mm-hmm. And I was still going to college, and you were like, dude, what are you doing, man? I was like, yeah, it is what it is. I think we did, mid 6 figures of like just assignments last year. So I was like, I think I could do a lot better if I quit college. And you're like, dude, you have to. So I ended up taking my gap year. I mean, it's still going, I guess. This gap semester
year with
that
another
never
gap
ends.
year, and then.
But yeah. And then I decided to just go all in on it, and it's been good this year so far.
Yeah, you. So as a 21-year-old in your first full year, you did like 150 grand.
I think we did like almost 160, but just assignments. Yeah,
and
just
then
wholesaling.
my thing I always tell the wholesalers who join the coaching program is like, yo, you got to learn to buy the houses. Like at the end of the day, I want to see everyone just build a true real estate investing business. Because anytime I see wholesalers who just only do that, I'm like, dude, you're not even a real estate investor. You're just a marketer.
Yeah.
And you're never going to be able to fully capitalize on the marketing you do. And you're also never going to be able to build a portfolio because you've never realized how to make or raise money, how to fix up houses and do the things that you're going to have to do if you want to be a real estate investor.
Yeah.
And
that was for sure the biggest thing for me. Kind of from the program, you were like, you've got to take everything deal by deal. You know, you can't wholesale everything because if you're making, $5,000 on the assignment and that's all that, somebody's willing to pay, but you can make 25 to 30 grand flipping it with, with some appreciation, what are you doing? You need to be closing on it. So I took that into this year big time, just taking everything deal by deal. Still wholesale. I mean, you're not going to buy every deal. Some deals just you don't like it or whatever. But the big deals where I would take my 20 grand assignment, they turn into huge flips this year, and that's been huge for the business.
Yeah, and that's kind of it's funny because I shoot my own self in the foot as the Vegas guy who's like, "Hey Vlad, wholesale me a deal," but I'm like over here telling Vlad, "Don't wholesale," because in the end, like I know what's best for our students and stuff. And the big thing I've been preaching ever since January is that, hey, you need to start buying all your deals because the market's going crazy. And if you wholesale a deal, just know you are for sure 100% leaving a lot of money on the table.
100%.
Because you're not getting the appreciation.
And we've still done some wholesale deals this year. I think you guys just bought Odette from me. That was like an 8-month escrow between the tenant and all of the liens and all of that. But we still wholesale, still do deals. So.
Yeah, and we wholesale too. But it's just like if you have the ability to buy them, and unless somebody's willing to pay just some crazy wholesale fee, then man, at this point in time, it's almost always going to be better to take it down. And you're proof of that. I mean, like this year, you're going to do over $500,000 this year. Second year doing this. How much do you think you'd do if you only wholesaled?
Probably less than half. Oh well, that probably half of that for sure. I'm leaving like half the money on the table basically because if you, just looking back, we had one deal I bought it at $225, thinking that hey it was worth probably anywhere from maybe $330 to $340 if we push it.
Yeah.
Sold it at $375, so that's
Yeah.
it. That's it right there,
Dude,
and I ended up flipping that one. So, leaving crazy money on the table, especially this year.
Yeah, we've had so many deals we bought that, I'm like, all right, cool. This is gonna make 20 grand. Made 50. I'm like, this is crazy.
Perfect.
Like,
Yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah, and what you realize too is once you start running a business and you have marketing expenses and you got overhead and employees, like. You got to really maximize deals to make the ROI make sense on all the work you're doing and all the risk you're taking. So that's my big thing, man. If you're listening to this podcast and you're only a wholesaler, I think you're probably very foolish.
Yeah, stop leaving money on the table. That was a big thing for me because last year I took a bunch of wholesale fees where I made like 5 to 10 grand.
Yeah.
And then I look back and then the flippers made crazy amounts of money because the appreciation wasn't that crazy, but it started to pick up towards the end of the year. So all of a sudden it's like, wow, I just left all that money on the table. So that's been a big kind of difference between last year's business for me and this year.
Yeah. And it's funny because I'll get a lot of wholesalers, take for example, John, Suka. Man, all you guys got some weird last names. Suka Melli, yeah. Yeah. And he's another 20-something, like
yeah.
I
think he just turned 23. We have the same birthday.
You and him?
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys remind me of each other so much because he's out in Texas and, was a wholesale only guy, but doing great. I mean, he's killing it. And I remember when he was thinking about joining the program, I was like, bro, I could double your revenue tomorrow. I don't even need to see your business because based on what you're telling me with just you only wholesale. I was like, if we just do a couple of tweaks with, adding the ability to take down the ones you want to take down, then you're going to make way more money.
Yeah. And he just sent me, I think he made like 96 grand on the deal.
On one deal, because he took it down.
Because he took it down.
He was going to make like 10 on the wholesale.
Yeah, and he was like, it's a thin wholesale. And I was like, how thin? And he was like, yeah, I think it was like 10 to 20. Then he made 96. And I was like, yeah, well, all right, no brainer.
Yeah. I'm like, your fee's paid for.
Yeah.
So my work is done. Well, no, but him and I are also working on a deal together where he got like this 16 home portfolio, and we're looking at partnering up on it. I'll fund it.
Yeah,
and,
he told me about it.
Yeah, and I know he's still working out all the details, but it could be an extremely lucrative deal for both of us. And, once again, the only reason it's going to be that way is because we can take it down.
Yeah. I think he said, like, if you wholesale them, you can't really even make that much. But the real money is going to be in taking them down, flipping them, selling them to hedge funds.
Yep.
All of that.
Yep. So, I think just that's the thing, is really getting people to push you to think differently, because we all get stuck in our ways, especially when we're successful. We're like, oh, like what I'm doing works.
Get comfortable.
Yeah, I've done that many times. And then I'll meet somebody who's doing something crazy, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
I remember, last year, I talk about this story a lot before I was ever on YouTube and stuff. I'm like, YouTube's so dumb. And then I saw what these guys were making, and I was like, YouTube is not dumb. And
yeah,
I just went all in on it. But, then this year I was in Puerto Rico back in February, and I remember, I thought I was doing good. I'm like, dude, like I'm doing really good.
Yeah.
And these guys around me were like the best info marketers you've ever seen. Like the guy sitting next to me just sold his company for $300 million. And, had other guys, e-commerce guys who were doing big numbers, multiple millions a month. Met a guy who was like, yeah, I make $1 million a month. I'm like, what do you do? He's like, well, we send emails. I'm like,
not bad.
You send emails? Like, explain. And he's just like, we send emails with offers and different things, and our email list is in the millions. And so every time we send an email out, we know that it's going to bring in, 30 grand. I'm just like,
crazy.
That's insane.
Crazy.
And these are things that probably anyone listening has never even heard of. I never heard of it.
Yeah.
And you see it for, like, if somebody hears it, they might be like, nah, BS. Like, I don't buy it. But me, looking at them right there in the flesh, I'm like, okay, explain to me more. Tell me like what you're doing. And you just see it's legit, and your mindset just shifts of like, yo, this is actually possible. And not only possible, but not as hard as you may think it is, as long as you are talking to the person who's doing it.
Yeah.
Because if I said, oh, I want to go send emails and make $1 million, I wouldn't even know where to begin.
Yeah. And I think that's what kind of attracted me to, just entrepreneurship and real estate and just business in general, is like you can get inspired just by being around the right people. And then you realize, the things they're doing are not so far-fetched. You just need kind of the blueprint and just take the similar action steps, put your own twist on it. And now all of a sudden, you're kind of growing and trying new ideas and stuff like that. So that's the biggest thing why I kind of wanted to run my own business, because I'm like, hey, I could pivot at any point and just do my own thing, and just off the cuff do whatever. So I think just exposing yourself to other people has been huge for me, especially like at this age.
Yeah,
huge.
No, for sure. I mean, dude, the fact that you're so young and you're already networking with so many other people that have already gone through what you're going through, and you've got all these relationships, the sky's the limit, man. I told you that last YouTube. You did the YouTube in 2020. You had come off a great year for a 21-year-old, and you were like, I was like, what's your goal? And what'd you say? I
think I was like 200 grand.
Yeah, something
250?
like 250. I was like, 250? What are you talking about? And you're like, yeah, it's a pretty good goal. And I was like, try again. I think you said 350 or something. I'm like, no.
Try again.
Try again. Like
yeah.
$500,000 minimum, just based on where I know you're at today. And if you quit college, you devote yourself to this, like you're going to make way more than you ever thought.
Yeah. With flip profits for this year, flip, wholesale, stuff like that, stuff we have in escrow, hopefully it'll close, should close. I think we're right at half a mil. So anything,
you're going to get more deals too.
Yeah. Anything extra is just going to be, icing on the cake. So we'll, I was thinking pretty small, last year, and kind of, anything's possible once you really believe it. I think that's the big thing.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to put you on the spot again, dude. I'm going to ask you, what's the goal for 2022? But before we do that, let's hear a quick word from our sponsor. Have you ever wanted to invest in real estate, but you didn't have the time to find deals yourself? That's where Fundrise comes in. Fundrise is a crowdfunding platform that has transacted over $5 billion in real estate and has over 150,000 active investors. While many funds, like my own, require accredited investors, Fundrise allows anyone to invest with as little as $500. If you'd like to learn more, check out fundrise.com. Once again, that's fundrise.com. A quick word from our sponsor. One of the best ways to get off-market real estate deals is through cold calling. And if you want to reach as many people as fast as possible, then you need Batch Dialer. With their predictive dialing technology and built-in CRM, Batch Dialer is one of the top dialers in the industry. You can switch between single or multi-line dialing, as well as do voicemail drops and call recordings. And for being a listener of The Ryan Pineda Show, you'll get a 7-day free trial. Just go to batchdialer.com/Ryan. Once again, that's batchdialer.com/Ryan. Now, back to the show. All right, dude. What's the goal?
What's the goal? So this year was, the flipping got added and that, changed everything. Next year, the people are going to be added. So for me, that's the big thing, getting a team going. So I think, we'll go for 1.2 next year.
1.2, $100,000 a month.
Yep.
All right, good. If it didn't have a 1 in front.
We'll go for 1.2. The 1's fine, but we'll go for 1.2 and
Okay.
keep it at $100,000.
$100,000 a month. Okay. So what's it going to look like? You're talking about the team, right? It's
Yeah.
easy to throw a pie in the sky and be like, yo, I want to make $1 million.
Yeah.
What are you going to do to get there?
Yeah. So right now, our bread and butter is cold calling, texting. So I'm ramping up that side of it. We're doing kind of, the VA route in terms of lead manager. So that's a big thing to do. Somebody to keep touching every lead. And then obviously I'm going to need, people in-house. Hiring an assistant right now. So anybody in Vegas, we're looking for an assistant, and we're looking for an acquisitions person as well. So just building out that team. I'm getting an office right now. I've been, running the business from the house. So getting an office, really, building out the operation from there. That's what it's gonna take to get there. I just can't do it by myself.
No. I mean, you only have so much you can do on your own. And I think for you to get over $1 million and not like die, you definitely gonna need some help. It was funny. I was at an event and I met this guy who was doing like supposedly $3 to $4 million a year by himself, and I was like,
How?
Explain how this works. Like, he was just like, I don't trust people, blah, blah, blah. They just don't do. I'm like, so what about like, do you write all your checks? Like do you have like a bookkeeper? He's like, no, I handle the books too. I'm
Crazy.
like, why? And he just had been burned from his own deal. And I'm like, dude, I don't know if you're really doing this, but if you are, you're just crazy.
Yeah, insane. That's crazy. That's crazy. No way.
But I think for you to get to $100,000 a month, an assistant for sure, another sales guy, so it's not just you closing.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. And then just, the biggest thing is the follow-ups, because you guys know it.
Yeah.
It's rare that you close something right off, unless it's PPC or something like that. But even that's rare. You need a couple touches there. So just somebody that's always kind of warming up leads and kind of an inside sales agent. We're trying to get a couple of those.
And you said you're going to try and use VAs to do it.
I'm going to try to get VAs to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, that's what business is for. You just pivot and go.
Try it out. Yeah, we I've been talking about it with the students a lot, is using VAs for lead managers. And Kristen, one of our other students in the program, Kristen Stampini, she's a beast. She's got a huge VA company. And so her and I have been testing different ways to use VAs as leads managers. And, we didn't get a deal from it for like the first month. We pivoted, trying a little kind of different things now. And I recently looked and we locked up 2 deals. And so, those are 2 deals that were already in our system. We had already talked to these sellers, yet we just, didn't follow up with them the way that, sales guys like that. we're getting leads every day. So it's not like they got all this time to follow up.
Yeah.
So nor do good well, I don't want to say good salespeople, but most salespeople who are killers don't want to follow up. They're like, dude, give me these leads that are good. Like, I want to close those. I'm that way. I could never follow up with any. If I don't close you today, we're pretty much done. That's why maybe that's why I'm a good closer, like, one and done, because I know this is the only chance. It's life or death.
Yeah. And I think with like lead managers, they don't have to be like killer guys like your sales guys. They're not closing. They're
just persistent.
They're just persistent. They're just touching base, making sure that you're always in contact with these people. It's just really just leveraging people, leveraging more people to hit the phones, because they don't need to do too much except, hey, are you interested in selling? Like, what's going on? And if they are, then they go to your good guys.
Exactly. So yeah, I think that's a good plan. To me, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to get there if you just continue on that path. But I'm glad to see that you're starting to think bigger.
Yeah.
And realize what's truly possible.
I need to go more documenting on the YouTube route as well. That's been, I've done it, kind of stopped, and then need to definitely step it up. Maybe hire some content guys and get that rolling, because it's harder to manage it yourself. I was doing it, essentially myself as well. So
your videos were good too, man.
Yeah,
I enjoyed them.
I appreciate it.
But you weren't consistent.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. You need consistency, in everything. So that's one thing I haven't been too great at. So
yeah,
we'll change it.
Yeah, YouTube's tough, man. It's funny because for everybody, right? I tell everybody the same things. Like, I'm like, this is what I do. This is what I know works. Like, everyone should do it, yada, yada, yada. And so we got a lot of people, making YouTube videos, creating content, while also, delegating, scaling their business, and kind of taking the blueprint that, I've used and doing it successfully. So I'm curious to see kind of in a couple of years, since I know social media is a long-term play, like how it all plays out with everybody's followings. Yeah. Because there's a lot of people who I think have, like yourself, who have great potential, that if they just see it through and stay consistent, the results will be there.
Yeah, no, for sure, 100%. And I feel like I love the way you create the content, where it's like business focused. Like you're a business guy first, and then you're just a content creator second. Yeah. Maybe content creator first at this point.
At this point, dude, I don't even know. You can't even call me businessman. I'm just like video guy.
But I mean, you had the businesses first, and then the content just funnels in and, essentially makes you the money through the businesses. So that's huge. And we've talked about how, a lot of people just create content and they just do random videos, and they have a huge following, but they don't make any money from it.
Yeah.
And ultimately, you want to make the money, and you want it to affect your business in a positive way.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's like two types of people. Most of the people that I talk to are already business focused. They might have a business, they're hustling, they're making money. And so for me, when I go to them, I'm saying, hey, content can only amplify what you're doing. It's going to make you more money. Then there's the other side where there's people who don't have businesses but enjoy making content. And so then they have to figure out, how do I actually make money from this?
Yeah.
We actually just had a guy join. Did you see him? Kingsley?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's young too. He's like 23.
Yeah.
And he built up a YouTube following of over 400,000 subs. But he had that same exact problem. We talked on the phone. He was like, yeah, I grew a big following, but I wasn't making any money. I was making like $2,000 a month for my following. I was like,
yeah,
dude, yeah.
What kind of videos was he doing? Just kind of like reactions or what?
Just kind of like, I don't even know. It was just like kind of like lifestyle stuff.
Okay.
It wasn't real estate.
Gotcha.
But he's going to rebrand into like showcasing his real estate journey.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny, man, because like you do have those people who are very good at creating captivating videos and building an audience, but they don't have any way to monetize it. And so I think everyone's just working on meshing the two together in the world going forward, because that is the future.
Yeah. Thankfully, real estate is easy. If somebody brings you one deal from a video they saw of you and know of you,
worth it.
100% worth it. That pays for, any type of content, anything you pay out, because real estate is, lucrative on a deal by deal basis.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the beauty of creating financial content. Not only from the business perspective, but as you see with these YouTubers, they get paid way more in ad revenue, sponsors. It's funny, I get sponsors who reach out to me who are just like normal, they're not financial type sponsors, and so they'll offer like $1,000 or something for whatever, and I'm like, no, what are you talking about? I'm not gonna go do this. They're like, well, based on the amount of followers you have, like this is, I'm well, that's not the same thing.
Yeah.
You know,
My followers are, way more educated than the average, average guy and stuff like that. So yeah, that pays for sure.
yeah, but the financial sponsors get it.
Yeah.
They pay big bucks because they're like, look, I know you got educated followers. Somebody who watches you is probably pretty smart, probably got some money. And they probably want our services, and our services make us a lot of money as a company, so we can pay you more.
Yeah.
At
the same time, for them, it'll pay for itself in their eyes, so they'll make it work.
Yeah, no, for sure. So, what do you see for yourself, like long term, man? I mean, I know it's tough because you're still so young, but do you have a plan yet?
I'm looking to definitely close on more rentals this year for sure. I don't know kind of what I'm doing. I've been looking at some multifamily stuff over in the Midwest area and stuff like that. Definitely want to start building more wealth. I don't want to go, 10 years of flipping and wholesaling and then be like, oh, I don't have any assets to, kind of keep. So just closing more of that this year. So I don't know if we'll have to, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Just kind of learning and going, building up the business, like I said, building up the content, and then hopefully, keeping some long-term assets.
Cool, man. I love it. Let's transition a little bit and talk about just these young, call it 20-somethings or even teenagers. You're still a young guy. I just mentioned a bunch of other young guys that are having success, just like you in the program and stuff. But, it doesn't even have to be real estate related. What are some tips you have for young people who don't want to go to college, man? They want to be entrepreneurs. Like, what do you think?
I think it's all just the mindset, really. If you think you're young, you're not experienced, it's going to show, and you're just not going to have the confidence. So even when I didn't know what I was doing, I'd say I had pretty good self-confidence in myself that, hey, I'll figure it out. So I think confidence first and foremost, kind of believing in yourself, whatever you want to do. Like I said, I was trying a bunch of different things, and I personally feel like I could have been successful in any one of them if I would have, went down that path. But I chose real estate. So, having that confidence first and then having the action second, being able to decide like, hey, I'm going to go all in on this, and I'm not going to stop till I succeed.
So a lot of these people, they know they want to do real estate, and their hard part is building the confidence to take action. And so you see the analysis paralysis, right? Or paralysis by analysis. And they feel like I got to keep learning before I'm going to be confident enough. How do you develop that confidence where you're like, dude, I understand. I'm never going to know it, know it all. Like, how do when do you know you're confident enough?
You have to decide for yourself, how bad do you want it? I think it comes down to kind of like a fight or flight mentality too. Like if you put your back to the wall, like, hey, this is my plan A, let's fail forward and make it happen. There is no plan B. You just gain confidence as you go. When I started off, like I said, I had the confidence that I could figure it out, but not the confidence in, hey, I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm just like, hey, I'll figure it out as I go. I'm probably going to fail like a bunch. Hopefully I don't get sued and have to go to jail for it. I don't know what I'm doing, but we'll figure it out, So I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah. It's tough, man. I think, too, environment plays a very big role. Many of the people that I see get into this paralysis analysis, it's because they're just like at home by themselves all the time. They don't really have anyone supporting them. One thing I've realized is that even with this podcast and YouTube and videos, it's a one-way conversation. Like, I'm telling you what to do, but there's no feedback back to me. So it's like, all right, I give you the tools. There's a bunch of other stuff I have not covered. You're going to encounter other problems that this video, this podcast does not answer. And then I think people get hung up on whatever that one problem is, and it just kind of stops them because they don't have any feedback
Yeah.
for what they're doing.
No, for sure, 100%. And like I said, that first ever like real estate deal, once I took action, I didn't know how to sign a contract.
Yeah.
I didn't have a contract. So whenever we went,
I brought it all.
you brought it all. You brought it all. But at the same time, I showed you. I remember at one point, you know, I was sitting there. I was like, okay, this is how you negotiate. Like, okay, this is how you sign the contract. I was like, where do you put the initials? Okay. And then, okay, he doesn't want to sign. Never mind. He doesn't want to.
He didn't want to do the deal.
You don't want to. He doesn't want to move forward today. All right, we'll try next time. And you're like, no. we're gonna do it today. Because if not, my offer's off the table. And like for me, that was like crazy. I'm like, oh dang, like let's see how this works out. But the guy was like, he was bluffing that he had other investors coming and stuff like that. And just learning that, the reason I did it was because I took the action without knowing, and then I just figured it out as I went because I was around the right people.
Right. And I think, for one, right, do you think that I learned that trick or that negotiation tactic my first time? Like, no, it's just from years of experience and so many negotiations where you realize you just get a feel. You're like, bro, like, we're going to close this today or not? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
So I use a lot of different sales strategies, but to your point, you did take action in the fact that obviously you got the opportunity, right? You had the guy right in front of you. But you also had the humbleness to say, hey, I've never done this before. I need help. I'm not going to just try and close this on my own and probably not get it done. Like, I'd rather just go get somebody else to do it and let them take the majority of the profit. That way I can learn. Yeah.
Well, whenever I brought you the deal, you were like, how much money do you want to make on this? I was like, I don't care if I make money. Can you show me how to do it? Because I'll go do it again by myself.
Yep.
I just don't know how. And you were like, all right, let's see the deal. You're like, and then at that point, you're like, oh, you can make a lot of money on this one. I could probably cut you like a $10,000 check. And I was like, wow, that's crazy to me, but that's just the cherry on top. Show me how to do it.
Yeah.
And then, you can make all the money. I don't really care.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I said to have that kind of humble attitude says a lot versus other people are like, oh, well, you should mentor me for free, or you should, we should split it 50-50. It's like, bro, you don't know anything.
Yeah, no, I think
go cut your teeth. Go see if you can close it by yourself if that's how you feel.
Yeah, no, 100%. And the thing is, I knew I couldn't. I didn't know even where to start. So I was like, I can provide all, because for me originally, I was like, what kind of value can I provide for you? Can I work for you for free? You want me to clean your office for you? What's it going to take? You're like, I don't really need any of that. But I was like, but he needs deals. Yep. So this is my value proposition. Like, hey, I have this deal, you can make money on it, but in return, can you just please show me how to do it? Please help me. So I think that is what you need to be doing. And it doesn't have to be real estate, just any industry. If you're a young person, it's not really, find where you could add the value, and, you'll just get so much more value in return.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and I think it just goes back to seeking out the right people, right? So it's like if you can't pay for a coaching program, or you can't pay for a course, whatever, you better go find somebody in your area who you can go find a deal for. You may not know how to find a deal, but if you're resourceful, you can still find the person and say, hey, teach me how to find a deal. Just show me how to do it. It's your deal. I don't even want anything. Like, just show me how to find the deal. I will find it and give it to you. And, I just want to learn.
Yeah. I think that's the word, just resourceful. A lot of people just aren't resourceful. So if you can't be resourceful enough to, do the little things to set yourself up to potentially, start. It's just not gonna work.
You're not gonna make it.
That's just the truth of it. I mean, at the end of the day, not everybody can do it. Everybody can do it, but not everybody will do it just because they don't have the grit,
the resourcefulness, and the grit. That's sure.
That's the word for sure.
It was funny. I back when I didn't have as many followers, people would ask me. They'd be like, "Hey." I'd post about my book, and they're like, where can I find the book? I'm like, are you freaking serious? Like, dude, if you have to ask me where to find my book, you ain't making it.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. A lot of people just want...
Like, there's literally Google, and it will tell you right there.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's just, that's what it comes down to, just being resourceful and getting it done. You'll find a way to get it done if you want to get it done. I've seen so many different people start in real estate, moms and older people and really young people. But one thing for all of them in common, they were resourceful enough to find what they didn't know and just start.
Yeah.
And then other people, you could be, doesn't really matter, and they just never do it.
Right. Well, and I think of myself as a resourceful person today because I'm always trying to do new things I've never done. So you have to, by definition, be resourceful if you're always venturing into these new territories and ideas. But when I look back at my real estate career when I was young, I'm like, man, was I like not resourceful or was I lazy? Because I got licensed when I was 21. I didn't flip my first house until I was, 25. So there was this, 4 to 5 year period where I just wasn't doing anything, even though like I had the idea of like, I want to flip a house. But in my mind, I was like, oh, well, I need a lot of money and I don't have that. So I guess I'll never flip. And that was it.
Yeah.
The door was shut. And then it just wasn't until years later when I realized by pure luck and just the grace of God that, hey, here's the answer to the money issue. There's just something called hard money loans. And it's so dumb thinking about it today because, anyone listening to this probably already knows what a hard money loan is, but I just wasn't resourceful and like looking for like, how do I flip a house?
Yeah.
Like, I think I could actually do this. How do I do X, Y, Z?
Yeah.
So
I think that's the word of the day for us, being resourceful and find the things, if it's important to you, you'll find a way. That's what it is. So at that time, you were like playing baseball and stuff. So,
yeah, it wasn't that important.
It wasn't that important to you. That's it. But when you had that fire under you where it's like, this is important to me. I need to find something to do, besides you were couch flipping, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like now you found it, because you were looking for it.
I think also I got married. And so I was like, hey, you know what? I probably
should make some money.
Yeah, I need a career. My wife's in school and she's not working. So this ain't going to work out too well if I don't start making some money.
Yeah, no. So it all worked out. It all works out when you kind of seek out what you want.
Yeah, dude. So how's it today? I'm always curious about this. Like, how's it today as a young dude making a lot of money? Like not with, I guess you can talk about with girls, but with social media and like it being so out there. Some people are going to watch this now. How do you deal with like success at a young age?
I'm not like a big splurger. I'm just, just same me, I guess. I don't really just focus on growing the business and growing the business. I enjoy my free time. It's nice now because for me, I used to, not know how to like take a vacation or something like that. But now if I want to, go visit somebody across the country, I can just buy a plane ticket and just go. So I guess that the freedom of that a little bit is nice, but not much has changed really for the most part.
Do you ever battle with like ego?
Ego in what way? What way you say that?
Just like, man, like, I guess for me anyways, when I was a baseball player, I battled with ego a lot. Like, man, like, I'm the man, blah, blah, blah. Like, you come from an athletic background, like being the jock and the big man on campus. You were the quarterback of your high school, weren't you? Like,
I was, yeah.
You never had to deal with that?
I think definitely you have to deal with that. I think it's a balance between like, I'm the man, I'm better than other people, and then I'm the man, I can do whatever, I set my mind to. I think that's the ego like balance. I think you have to have a little bit of not ego but confidence, in order to do whatever you want to do, especially being like a young man. So for me, I guess you could say at times maybe I wasn't the most humble like high school and stuff like that, but you grow. I don't think I'm better than anybody at all. I still think I'm the man, but that's the thing. Yeah,
for sure. No, it's good. And the reason I asked that is because from watching you all these years, never have I once like thought like, oh man, this guy, he is just all about himself. Like, cause there's a lot of guys that are like that. You're like, oh my gosh, dude, get this guy away from me.
Yeah.
But I've never seen that with you. Despite any success you've had, you've remained the same and steady, and always striving to learn more, to grow, to like you don't know enough. You're constantly putting yourself into new positions and situations where you can continue to grow.
No, there's no reason to be, have an ego or anything like that. It's just you haven't even scratched the surface of what like I want to do in my life. So just improving constantly, and the money has to come, with it as well. somebody's got to fund the business operation. Somebody's got to fund the lifestyle. So, just comes with it.
Yeah, no, for sure, dude. I'm proud of you, man. Just everything that I've seen you do just the last 3 years, from seeing you sneak in the bar to, thinking about it and wondering if real estate's for you, to doing your first deal, to,
it's been 2 years since we met, actually. I was 19, right turning 20, and I just turned 22. So it's been 2 years and a month, essentially, since I
crazy.
Learned what real estate was. So it's been great. Appreciate you, man.
Don't you? Isn't it scary to think about like what it could be in 5 to 10 years?
Exciting.
Yeah,
I think more than anything, because for me, I kind of just look at you. Like the exponential curve is insane. So I'm just like, I feel like I'm taking baby steps. But I'm like, when I catch stride, I think I could do something big for sure. Just we'll see how big.
Yeah, to put your 5 years in perspective, so I would have been 27 5 years ago, and 27 was the first time I made over 100,000 in a year. So to think about that, like, like I was just celebrating 5 years ago, like, dude, I made over $100,000. This is crazy. And then to see it, there's no way 5 years ago I would have predicted I'm doing what I'm doing today.
Yeah.
It'd just be like, how? Like, where? But I think it's a testament to, if you just keep doing the same things over and over again and you stay consistent, you keep your eyes open to opportunity. You don't become closed-minded because you have success. You'll always be improving, and just you can't even fathom what you can accomplish if you just keep the consistency and the openness to new opportunities and learning. Like, that's my biggest advice.
No, 100% agree. Just like we were talking there when the pandemic started, you were like, I'm going to try this YouTube thing. And then that catapulted you into new opportunities, So that's just, I'm always looking for new stuff, new opportunities. Like, what am I missing? Do I want to, I was talking to Landon and Jesse, the luxury stuff, you never know. You do one, and then that catapults you into a whole different kind of sphere of real estate. So just always looking for different stuff. I think that's important for me moving forward too. Yeah,
man, for sure. Where can everyone find you?
I'm on Instagram mostly. I post, I'm pretty consistent with like stories and stuff like that. I'm trying to grow the YouTube, but you can see that, in my bio. I'm on Instagram. So, the Vlad Plot, THE Vlad Plot, on like every social media for the most part. DM me, bring me some deals in Vegas. Open to everything. I reply to everybody. Like I said, I don't think I'm better than anyone. I had somebody, one guy asked me, at some point I do stop replying. I had a guy ask me, is wholesaling legal, multiple times after I've told them that we are wholesaling. But at that point I probably won't reply. But if you have questions or anything like that, definitely reach out and let's do it.
Cool, man. Yeah, we'll link to all Vlad's stuff down below in the description. Well, Vlad, dude, it's been a pleasure. Everyone watching and listening, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you go give Vlad a follow. If you haven't already, leave a 5-star review. It would mean a lot. And catch you on the next one. Peace. Thanks for watching The Ryan Pineda Show. If you want to work with me, head over to ryanpineda.com. You can find my courses, coaching programs, and upcoming events. We also have free resources you can download, so head over to ryanpineda.com.